So,
Okay.
what is a modern day myth? What is a future folklore? Think of it like this. We know what the Amazonian warriors are like. We know what Wonder Woman's like. A group of women on an island who are really powerful, strong. They're like warriors. That is the
Okay.
myth. The reality is they were just a group of women who are mercenaries from Europe. Hundreds, thousands of years later, we tell different stories of them, superheroes. The myth continues. So when I'm looking for topics, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a topic that exists today that in about 100 years or 200 or maybe in 1,000 years, it will take on a life of its own. And so when I came up with the idea of, the Filipinos are the greatest singers, and why does the whole world think this? What I'm trying to say is that in 1,000 years' time, people living on the moon, for example, will say, "Did you know that there's a group of ancient beings thousands of years ago who came from this island, and all of them sang like angels?" That's the myth behind it. So,
Yeah.
exploring modern day things that we take for granted that could become a myth for other people in the future. Welcome to Future Folklore. This is the Rewind series where we take a look at last week's episode, we go through some of the comments, and hopefully I am able to explain myself, explain what I learned from that episode and what people have been sharing with me. Now, my name is Bat Pixie, and today joining me is my friend Valentino. He will be taking on this persona, this character that you see right here to my left-hand side or right-hand side, depending on which direction you're looking. And he's going to go through some of the comments, share some of his feedback, and we're going to have a little bit of more of like a casual discussion on the series. How are you doing today, Valentino?
Hello. I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here, I guess. What are we
Yeah,
discussing today?
I think this is the first time that I've had a video posted where I just thought it was going to be like an interesting little bit of a series, like why are Filipinos such good singers? I've always wanted to discuss that since I was in high school, and I didn't realize that it would find an audience so quickly on the YouTube algorithm. Like, I think 90% or something of my audience that watched that video were from the Philippines. So clearly the algorithm is working and it clearly knows its target audience.
Well, you definitely didn't know what you were getting yourself into. I mean, that video clearly blew up and earned you a few extra subscribers.
I'm very grateful for that. Now, I got into this whole YouTube thing for this series, at least, Future Folklore, because I wanted to test myself as well as explore like a different part of my creativity. I don't get to experience this in my work environment, I have just a generic 9 to 5 kind of office job, and you don't get to like play around with like animation like this or explore topics that I've always wanted to explore, from you know K-pop to learning about the Philippines even. So everyone that subscribed in that last video really means a lot to me. I'm a little bit worried about next week's video, which is going to be the one where we discuss karaoke, but I think we'll get into that a little bit later on today.
Yeah, I don't know how that one's gonna turn out.
Yeah.
People they're a little bit touchy about karaoke.
I'll be honest, like when I was doing that segment, like it was just karaoke, right? Like that's the thing. Like I don't know if like that's
Yeah,
the
but
way
you
you
poked
could
a hornet's nest.
exactly. Like I did not expect the comments to go so hard on me. But what I think is going to be really interesting is I have actually done a little bit of research on that part.
Yeah.
And there's even more that I've discovered now, going back into like the sources to see what did I actually miss. So when we have this video next week, It's gonna be pretty much Japan versus the Philippines, who created karaoke. And I'm just imagining every single subscriber, spoiler alert, just like disappearing.
Are we gonna discuss who won the war again?
We're not gonna discuss it on
Do
this
some research on
episode.
that.
That's gonna be for next episode. I guess a little bit foreshadowing. But yeah, I think let's get back to the topic, which is why are Filipinos such good singers? Like, what is your experience? Like, do you think that's an accurate description, or what do you think?
I mean, personally, yes. From my experience, 100%. They are excellent singers, but at the same time, sometimes I think they're a bit of tryhards because even if they can't, they just have to because it's a part of their culture, and they don't really have a choice, because if you don't know how to sing, then you kind of don't fit in, because every gathering, every party, every anything has karaoke.
And you have a little bit of experience with this. How's your experience? Because you are literally in the Filipino community now, aren't you? You got married how long ago now?
3 years.
3 years. So 3 years you've been in the Filipino community. Have you ever been invited to do any karaoke?
Actually, before even we got married, we were attending my partner's friend's birthday party, and immediately as we entered, it's already happening. And I'm immediately looking at the food. I'm not even looking at the background. I just hear people singing, and then we make our way there to greet everybody.
Yeah.
And before I know it, I have a microphone in my hand, and I can't sing for shit. So,
Did you at least have a camera to record?
thankfully, no.
Thankfully, no. Oh, come on.
Yeah, like I said, I cannot sing, so I'm glad that was not recorded.
I did a video on Northeast Indians, people from Northeast India, just worshipping K-pop idols. Now,
I think it was the word.
the word really triggered a lot of people, and that was such a unique learning experience for me, because we in like, the Western part of the world, we use worship for everything. Like I've heard people say, oh, like, you worship that player or that thing or whatever, but it still has such a significant meaning to people from that part of the world that it didn't even occur to me that it would trigger people so much.
I mean, to correct you and to correct a lot of the viewers, worship is used throughout the entire world. It doesn't matter how you say it. It might have a different meaning or a different connotation when you say it, but it still means the same thing.
It means the same thing, but it's like the way people say it. For example, a person can say, are you cool? Like, all right, yeah, I know what that means, different meaning to it. Or perhaps you can say like something like, what's another way to say it? It's like this: when you meet someone like your girlfriend or your wife, and you go, oh, did I do something wrong? And she'll say, I'm fine. Now, you know that I'm fine means the same thing everywhere in the world. It means I'm not bad or good. But when she says it like, I'm fine, I'm fine,
In reality, it means a billion
I'm fine.
things.
Yeah, all of a sudden it means something else. So I didn't realize that was going to be something that was going to even find the audience. I didn't even know like people from Northeast India could find my video. But the YouTube algorithm, right, knows the topic and found some people. And why that was such a huge learning experience for me is because, like I just pointed out, the idea behind Future Folklore is to find small or unique aspects of life right now, and how is it going to impact us in the future? Like, what are the stories people tell in the future? And what I was doing is I was taking like, isolated events from like social media, from people, real people that did things. But then when you package it and you put it onto a YouTube video, you have everyone watching it. and they feel like it's an attack on them, and that was not the intention.
It's not the case though. It's you release information out there, but everybody just expects you to be politically correct all the time.
I think this is more than that, even. And I think it was a huge learning experience for me, because as they presented it, they say already people from Northeast India, they look different from the rest of Indian people. Their culture is so unique, and they face a lot of racism. And so by putting this video out so publicly and saying, this is what Northeast Indian people are doing, worshipping K-pop idols, it's a little bit like a slap in their face as a community. So I felt really bad about that. And that is why when it came time for me to make the second video on, why are Filipinos such good singers, one thing that I did change up was that I tried to ensure that any sources or information that I try to reference first comes from a research article, a newspaper article, public knowledge from news sources, and only after that would I want to confirm that with TikTok videos and all of that, which I included.
It's understandable,
yeah.
But don't you think there's always two sides to that coin where it could be taken lightheartedly? It doesn't have to be taken personally.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Everybody has their own prejudice, and sometimes it ends up getting taken personally.
That was one thing I was really worried about. I don't want the channel to be so strict. I want to explore just these unique topics. I want to talk about Leroy Jenkins, what are the gaming myths that we are experiencing? How are they interpreted by the present day and in the future? And that's something that, that's my formula, right? What is the myth? Why is it? That's the history part. And then a speculative future, what is it that's going to happen in the future? I want to talk about books, certain books, games, human biology, with augmentation. That's the field that I started off in with kinesiology. I still remember my professor walking around with, the hydraulics on his feet. And all of a sudden, we're seeing people, with augmentation stuff on the news. So there's a lot of interesting subject matter that I want to touch upon. And I don't want to come across as I am the full expert, but I do want to come across as this is a place where you can explore ideas.
From what I'm hearing is you're saying you've got a lot of thoughts about a lot of different topics and a lot of different categories. But these topics could be controversial.
Yeah.
And the thing is, either we just become constrained, right? Or you become constrained to what the audience wants and how the audience wants you to be, or ultimately you just say it's freedom of speech and I'm not here to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm just here to discuss a topic, and you guys might have to grow a little bit of a thicker skin, because some things might come off a little bit unsavory, let's say.
I hope I never have to get that far. I hope it never comes to that, because
you said you wanted to discuss about books.
But here's the thing.
Books are controversial.
What I realized is that my ability to convey my meaning needs to be improved.
Okay.
Because it's very clear to me that when I go back and I watch some of the, I've only done 6 videos. I'm still brand new at this, right? I'm a small time YouTuber. And
you almost got canceled on your 4th video?
Yeah, on my 4th video, they were like, go die. But effectively, it's my ability to communicate needs to be improved. My ability to share information needs to be improved. My scripts need to be improved. Part of why Rewind exists, this long form podcast style is so that we can just have this open discussion without having any fear of, you know, I'm holding something back or I'm
So
editing something out.
this is a little bit uncensored in relation to your shorter form videos.
Yeah, we can go with that uncensored. It's still PG like 10.
Yeah,
You're literally wearing a suit. I guess I'm in a hot tub.
mostly censored, slightly uncensored.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a open platform for you to discuss and address.
And also to go over some of the comments that were brought up, because I think it's so important not to hide from them, but really to address them. Like the one with the, like, I see that every single day someone's talking about karaoke and who actually invented it. And it's like, there's a history behind it. And I'm making the next video, because what I've just discovered through these comments and this interaction is that it's a myth. This is a genuine, real myth that exists. And it's such a fun thing to explore. I can't help myself.
All right, back Pixie. Thank you so much for bringing up a lot of good topics, and I think this discussion went really well. Do you have anything left to say?
I think what is great about this format is that we can have a discussion very openly. I think in the future, what I would love to do is also include some of the other topics that maybe from the Retro Pop Vault. That channel is going to be where we cover, like, you know, retro things that we've discovered in the past. Or, you know, like, get more involved with like streaming. That way we can actually have people come in and actually ask those questions that they want to know right away and then have them answered. That might be a nice way to...
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, it's like a nice, interesting way to format this type of series. And I think
Maybe
it's
get
really...
a little bit of engagement.
Exactly. Engagement's really important, especially now when when I take a look at that video or the videos that we do, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, it's just one person talking. Sometimes it feels like that now, but my point is, it's just information. There's no personality attached to that. And I think that's something I have to work on. I have a few ideas for my next few videos. Like I promised, we have the invention of the karaoke machine coming up. And then another one that I wanted to touch upon is why in anime are the dads always missing?
Say that again.
In anime, why does it happen that in like every single anime the dads are always missing? Like in One Piece, you know, Luffy and Zoro and like Usopp, every single dad is like, son, stay here, I'm gonna go become a pirate or do something else. Or in like, you know, like the dad dies in like Dragon Ball Z and Piccolo has to raise his son. Or, you know, like, it's a trope that I see so often in like every single anime. And I want to explore that as well.
Didn't you say you wanted to avoid controversial topics?
Yeah, that was actually, you know, funny enough, before today's series on this rewind, that was going to be the topic posted this week.
Oh boy,
I've actually finished.
I feel like, yeah, I'm curious to see how not only the weeboos, right, all the Westerners who are into anime feel about that, but I'm very curious to see how the actual Japanese community
feels about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's the end of the channel, I guess.
All right then. I think that's an excellent place to call it a day. Thank you everybody, and thank you Black Pixie. I've been Valentino. This is Retro Rewind. Have a good night.
Bye everyone.